Anthony Bourdain. Didn't think I was going to be doing an episode today, but this one's for you.
Good cutting enhances the quality of good meat. In his way, the meat cutter is an artist. Poor cutting results in an inferior piece of meat, regardless of quality.
So when I was in my early to mid-20s, I was younger and I would go party and drink, and I've talked about that in other episodes, my struggle with addiction and mental health. And I would spend, hungover Saturdays and Sundays, or days that I called out of work, watching the Travel Channel. And back then, DVRs were just becoming popular around 2006, 2008, in that time frame. And when there wasn't marathons of A Shot at Love or that Bret Michaels Horrible Show or The Pickup Artist, and all those shows, I admit, are terrible, and fuck all those people. But there was always Bizarre Foods and No Reservations on the Travel Channel. And other than these two shows, it was No Reservations first, there wasn't really anything else on the Travel Channel. And I myself, not working in the food industry or the meat industry, I still watched hours and hours of No Reservations. I loved it. Watching Anthony Bourdain travel to different places and try different foods and experience different cultures. It looked like a dream job. It looked amazing. And understanding, his past and talking about the culinary world and, people doing drugs and his relationship with the drugs. And then you looking at his success and reflecting it on my own life and seeing where I was in my current state with addiction, that it gave me hope. It was something to strive for, that like, holy shit, this guy has done it. He's become successful, that he doesn't view his trial and tribulations as something to be ashamed about. And I would, watch these marathons that, No Reservations were just these, it was just something that you could put on and it could just be background noise and you could watch and you could be, entertained. And there's a lot of shows like that, but I don't think those other shows have had the cultural impact on the industry, such as the host of No Reservation is Anthony Bourdain, where you take it, you think about it, you think of what food television is like then versus now, versus all these travel shows, versus people, going to different places and trying odd things. And, from his book, The Nasty Bits, to bringing out different dishes and, really allowed the romanticized idea of being a traveling chef and opening the idea that culinary school and culinary work was worth doing, was worth paying attention to. Everyone in that time frame that I've met since then who have gone to a culinary program or is a chef certainly could relate one way or another to having him be an influencer in their life, whether even if they don't admit it. It's true that his impact on the industry is huge. Before I even got into the butchering industry, I would watch shows. Even before it was even an idea in my head, I would watch episodes of No Reservations where he would shoot a pig or, stick an animal and collect the blood and do all these things that now I'm sure if I watched it, I would have a different sense of what was going on and I'd maybe feel differently. But it was just like in wonderment of, I just want to know how many people he inspired to chase their culinary dreams, which is a hard dream. And he's a humbling man that in episodes when he goes and works back in kitchens that he's sweating and saying this is a young man's game and he can't, and his hat's off. I know stories of him always going to the back of the house to interview, or not interview, but to say hi to the people who are working, even when he's going out to eat or when he's staying at a hotel. And I remember one episode he went to a butcher shop, and it was beautiful, and he's talking to the owner, and just the most beautiful thing I've ever seen. And I'm still not even in the industry at this point, but he's showing light to, that side of the industry of like, wow, that's what a butcher shop looks like. I've never seen any shop like that. And, that was Victor Churchill's. And now I'm, I would consider myself good friends with Darren, the head butcher who runs that shop now. But the first time that shop I ever saw it visually wasn't through social media. It was through No Reservations. This morning I was taking out my trash, and I'm part of this group message between me and a handful of butchers that it's not, like master butchers or anything like that. It's just people that I get along with, and we text each other and talk about life and having kids and weekend plans and things like that. And Neil asked what the prefix was for America, and there was like text going back, and I didn't really feel like reading because it was a lot. I just said one, and then when I got a little bit more time, I realized what people were doing were exchanging numbers for if they ever felt depressed, that if they ever felt that you could call me. And all these butchers that I look up to in a very machismo world are expressing that it's okay to ask for help. And if you remember our physical health episode, I convey that. But it's true, that message us that honestly, 75% of suicides are decided 5 minutes before the act occurs, and 90% of people who survive suicide don't succeed successfully with another attempt. So if what's going to save your life, or what may be saving a friend's life, is a 5-minute awkward conversation, then do it. Message somebody, say, I need help. You could call 1-800-273-8255, and that's the national suicide hotline if you need help. And there are real people waiting to pick up, and it's okay to ask for help, no matter where you are in your life. I saw online today that a lot of people were saying that he seemed so happy, he seemed all this, blah, blah, blah. And that's someone is bipolar and suffers from depression and sad manic episodes and have had terrible thoughts. And a lot of people have that. And it's normal to have those terrible thoughts, but what's not normal or what's not good is to act on those thoughts. And that's when you need to ask for help. It's like when you're on the top of a tall building and you just think to yourself, like, well, what would happen if I just jumped? Some people may just jump. And don't be ashamed. And if anyone ever tries to confide in you, don't shame them either, because I think a shitty thing that's happening, or not happening, that's been made unaware, is mental health. And, we always talk about it and we always do this, but there's this stigma. I take so many medications a day, and it makes me a functioning human being. It makes me not successful, but it manages my mood and my anxiety to make me achieve what I want to in my day. And if you see someone with a broken arm, or if you have a broken arm, then you go to the hospital. If you have a sinus infection, you go to the hospital, and because they will help you. But if you have a mental illness and you don't know, and it's just feelings and you don't know how to convey it, people a lot of times are internalized because, and the shitty thing is people are always like, well, what does he have to be depressed about? And that's not how depression works. And I think we should all try to understand that. That it's not just like, oh, no, he's sad. He'll get over it. Chin up, blah, blah, blah. Don't say any of that. Just listen to people when they want to talk to you. And if you're in a depressing state and your life isn't going that great, and just know that nothing is forever. Time only moves forward. And setbacks and disappointment only help prepare you mentally for the next challenge in your life. I've said it in previous episodes that I remember driving to work with my brother knowing that it was going to be like a 20-hour day. And he just told me that there will be a time that we will be driving home in the other direction. And that's the shitty thing with, depression, is that you don't see that far ahead, that you're stuck in the now. And when you let a couple bad days, and that's all it takes is a couple bad, shitty days, or and then you make that split-second decision. It's not like the Netflix series 13 Reasons Why. It's people acting on impulse control. Like, I'll show them, blah, 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 blah. It's like, if you're upset and you're doing something out of spite, first of all, the best way to be spiteful towards someone is to be successful. Also, that means you have to define what success means to you and be realistic with it. So, as this morning when I was reading this and came to the conclusion what they were talking about and that Anthony Bourdain killed himself, I was bummed. Celebrity deaths and celebrity suicides have never... I don't think there's been a celebrity where I've been like, where I felt this way about it. He was genuine. He was nice, unless you're a guy spaghetti. And I think he overall did great things for the culinary world, and by making people want to use the nasty bits, by making people wanting to be chefs and then be artists and butchers and all that. And you will be missed. And I'm sorry you're listening to this. Till next time, keep your knives sharp and live in the margin.
Here's how Jason would have wanted it. Serve him up, let's go. Party down for Jason. work with us too long.